Hello, you guys. So I hope you're having a fantabulous day wherever you're at in the world. This is Mareka from Spirit Source Pinnacle, and today we are going to talk about seeing the clarity of the past, how to do that, why it's important, and some physical exercises that can help you do that as fast as possible. So, what does it mean to see the past clearly, or have clarity about it? Looking back on a situation, you can understand, the first thing what it means is that you can understand why it happened. Like whether that is you had an abandonment thing that was going on, or you had a guilt or shame thing that was going on, or anything like that. You can see where your mistake was in the situation. Now, this doesn't mean you harp on it. You just know where everything went wrong, and you don't get charged about it. The next thing it means is that you can have your compassion for yourself as well as the other person, no matter what they did to you. And I know that's really hard, especially when you get into really bad traumas like sexual assault. It's so difficult for people to have compassion for the person that assaulted them. And it's just, part of the reason why when people don't do that is that they hold on to it, because sometimes, depending on the assault, you can hold the shame of what happened, even though it wasn't your fault. You might hold the shame of that. That happens a lot in children. Because when this person might be assaulting them or assaulted them, even though the kid, they grow into an adult and they realize logically, that's not my fault. The little child is still holding that shame, like, what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve something like this? So, what I'm saying is that the second thing it means, you just have compassion for yourself, saying, I was a little kid, I didn't know any better, I shouldn't have accepted that shame that was someone else's. And then also saying, I have compassion for that person because that person is severely mentally disturbed. They have problems. That's probably why they can't get anywhere in life, because of their mental issues and lack of dealing with their own personal traumas and things like that. Now, this doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior or anything. I'm just saying that you should have compassion, and that's the way you can see things clearly from a larger perspective. Sorry, that was my cat. Okay, the third thing it means to have clarity about the past is understanding how to recognize it again. This is really important when you're, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, or you have been in a relationship with a narcissist, or someone who has narcissistic, toxic tendencies. Even though you might go into a new relationship, you can expect the best, but still recognize when things are kind of looking like the same thing. And when you have clarity about the past and you understand it fully, you understand your part in it, you understand the other person's part, you have compassion for both of you all for making that mistake, you will know how to recognize it and be able to discern with balance and with clarity. But you'll be able to know when it's happening and judge it correctly, not get triggered, not misjudge things, but honestly be maybe this looked like the same thing as last time. It just helps you be honest about what to recognize, so you can take the lesson into every part of your life and make your life better instead of worse. Because when you don't do this, and what we're going to go into, I'm going to go into 3 specific reasons why, but the overall reason why you need to have clarity in the past is because if you don't, you will repeat it. Because you won't understand what happened. I had an NLP session with my friend the other day, and she was talking about, not the other day. It was actually today. I had an NLP session, and they were talking about the future and the past, and they were doing timeline exercises. And she was talking about how, when you look at the past, are you looking at the future with the same eyes as the past? And I realized that I definitely was doing that. And the reason why I was doing that is because I wasn't looking at the past clearly. I hadn't digested it. It's I was remembering the situations, but I was either remembering them incorrectly or not extracting the best thing in the situation. So I feel like that's really important here. So that's the overarching reason. You do not want to make the same mistakes again, because there are things to be learned. So, 3 breakdowns of why that will, what that reason means and why it's so important to have clarity about the past. Is that you can see effectively what is happening today, which is what I just said, kind of a little bit. It's you see how the past is making you fault yourself today, make bad decisions, get overwhelmed easy, triggered by things that are out of your control. Like, there are so many little things that we do all the time that keep us living in the paradigm of the past. And unless you see from the past from an equal eye, you will not be able to move towards your future with a balanced outlook. Like, it's just not going to happen. So you need to know, like, what happened, and so you can make a better today. So the next thing is that you'll be able to stop self-sabotaging. Because the thing is, a lot of times with productivity, whether that's if you want to start a business, whether you want to get a new job, or anything like that, everyone has things that they're looking forward to. But if you've failed multiple times, sometimes if you don't have a strong support system, you can just want to quit. Why? Because you think that you're just going to fail again, which is understandable. Like, that's an understandable thing for you to go through. But sometimes that fear of failure leads us to self-sabotage. And instead of it being obvious most of the time, it's really subdued. So we can see where, like, we've held ourselves up in the past from what we wanted to do because we were scared. But until we review that situation with detail, we're not going to understand where we went wrong. We're not going to get it. And you're just going to keep self-sabotaging yourself because your mind and your emotions and your spirit, like we talk about on this channel all the time, are on 3 different tracks. Like, they're just like, and you're just like going nowhere because everything is going in 1,000 different directions. So seeing the past with clarity will help you know your mistakes so you can stop sabotaging yourself over fears that if you knew what they were, you probably were like, this doesn't make any sense, I can try to fix this now. But as long as they stay hidden, they're going to stay like huge and fearful for you. So the next reason why it's so important to see the clarity in the past is that you can have your power back. Not just with like trauma and things, but also, like I said, mistakes that you've made in the past. Maybe where you betrayed yourself, or maybe where you made a choice that puts you at a severe disadvantage. It almost, like, when you look back at those situations, I'm sure you can understand this and attest this. Comment below if that's true. You feel like almost like a slave to the situation. Even though it's done, it's like you feel such shame about it that it makes you feel powerless to change it. And once you have clarity about what happened, you won't feel powerless to whatever that thing was that happened. Even if it was a horrible thing, you will not feel like powerless and shameful to it anymore. So how can you start this process today? Other than doing shadow work, which I recommend, there are lots of books on it. Comment below if you want me to do a video just on that. But there are other things so you can begin that process faster. Because, like I've talked about on my channel all the time, sometimes when we have certain belief systems and certain emotions that are caked up within our body, like within our physical body, as well as our energy bodies and our emotions and things like that, when people say things to us about whether it's healing or getting out of the situation, we don't want to hear it. I'll be honest with you, do not want to hear it. And it's not just the brain that's doing that, it's also the body that's doing that. So what I like to do is work with the mind as well as the physical body to begin releasing emotions, because there are some things that people have gotten so unconscious with, and I've seen this with my clients. They've gotten so unconscious with it that you talk to them about it, they won't even know what you're talking about. Like, I've done sessions with people where I can feel their emotions as I do the healing session, and I tell them, and it's like they know but they won't admit it. Like, their mind won't admit it to themselves. So you can use the physical body to start that process. So the first exercise I have is the leg massage. Now, why the leg massage? Because the leg massage actually helps with stagnant energy that gets held within your legs. That might seem overly obvious, but it's actually not. The reason I do that is because it works with the nervous system and the capillaries to keep your skin and your body more flushed. Because it's funny, the further we get into the past within our body, if we don't have that energy transmuted, it tends to go down. That's why you see a lot of older people with things like varicose veins and leg circulation issues, because the past literally sits in the lower half of your body a lot. If it doesn't sit in the liver, it sits in the lower half of the body. That's basically where the past is, like kind of within your body. So these massages can help you begin to unearth those old energies so that you can see and transmute the emotions and be able to move forward without like so much pain. Like it's going to help, like I said, your nervous system and circulatory system, so you won't fly into fight or flight as soon as you think about it. Because think about all those people that you know of that when someone says something to them or says the truth, they just get mad. Like they just get like fighting mad. Like why? The reason they do that is because it's like their emotion, it's like the part of them that knows what's going on doesn't want to be told and wants to be lied to. So instead of the truth being told, they just start lashing out at you so that the truth doesn't get told. That is a thing. And that can happen sometimes. The leg massage will help so that doesn't happen with you. Because when you start journaling about this stuff, it's going to happen. Your body's going to start to like tense up like you're going on a run or something. And you're going to get freaked out. The next thing is to tap your thymus, which is like right here. I would say probably about 5 times with the right hand, 5 times with the left hand. And you can do it I would say 2 to 3 times a day. I'd say 2 to be safe. The thymus works with the endocrine system. And it is very powerful for regulating your hormones. It works directly with your thyroid. It's like a connector piece between your thyroid and your circulatory system, kind of. So it's much more emotional, and it can really help you balance the hormones within your brain, like whether that's serotonin, dopamine. Also, it's really good for the flight or flight response. It really helps to calm that down. It helps you to still feel powerful and still like be in that heightened state, but not be in like a non-thinking state. So it would help you have clarity even when you're in maybe a stressful situation or things like that. And the last thing is the Matangi Mudra. I love this mudra. It is the one that says it's the gesture of inner knowing and the balance of the inner and outer world. So it's really good, and it will definitely help you see the past with clarity, because it's going to be able to give you that individual perception, but also help you visualize that outer perspective. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. So once again, what it means to see the past with clarity is you understand why you hung on to it and the mistake that was made. 2, you have compassion for yourself and the other party so you can have peace about it. And 3, you understand what happened so you can recognize it when it appears again. So we're not in a freaking loop of death here with karma and everything else. So if you like this video, just go ahead and drop a like. If this really resonated with you and you'd like to see how I can help you with your specific situation with getting over the past, opening a new chapter, and maybe extracting the lessons from pretty painful things, I would love to assist you. Go ahead and contact me if you'd like for a coaching session, because I would love to assist you on your journey. So thank you so much for your time. Namaste and have a fantabulous day. Bye.